consideration of other people's jobs, like farmers and stuff, whose pure income's based on the animal products.
We wouldn't say we don't want to stop hitmen because we're taking food off their table. Cool, what do you reckon?
It was great.
Good cheese?
Yeah.
Good cheese. Do you know why we're doing this today?
Basically raise more awareness about vegan options, dairy things.
Yeah, you got it right. Do you guys know what happens to cows in the dairy industry?
Their babies get taken away from them and killed
That's right, if they're males, why do you reckon they kill the males straight away?
because they don't produce milk.
100%, right? What happens to the females?
They get milked,
What happens to the female babies?
injected with hormones.
So whether they're, that's all right. I'm not judging you, by the way. Just asking a question. If they're female babies, they also get taken away. So whether they're male or female, they're all taken away from mum, right? And then females get put into an isolation hutch for around 8 weeks, and then she joins the back of the herd, and will have the same exploitation her mum has. Do you reckon that we could justify that with like cheese, chocolate, yogurts?
No.
I agree. Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
Can't really justify it. Cool. Are you guys vegan at the moment?
No.
So currently, and by the way, like I said, I'm not judging it because I wasn't born vegan, right? But when I found this information out, the dairy industry was my catalyst to go vegan. Because I realized what I was paying for and I was against what I was paying for. How's it affected you guys?
I think there's a lot of conversations around being vegan and sort of impressions of it, and people do it for different things and stuff. I think the accessibility of vegan food, I think it's sometimes difficult because it's typically a bit more expensive sometimes. So I think that's what kind of like puts people off about it.
Okay.
And so people don't really have the opportunity to try vegan food. And I think that's what's great about this, so people can try it.
Okay, my brain's going mad because you hit about 5 like important things. So we had accessibility, price, people's impressions. Let's go with them 3 to start with, right?
Okay.
So let's go with price.
Yes.
So the cheapest foods in the supermarket are actually vegan. When you look at like rice, lentils, legumes, chickpeas,
yeah.
you can get expensive vegan food, you can get cheap vegan food.
Yeah.
But is price a justifier of what has to happen to these animals?
No.
Okay.
I just think that's why people aren't as
Because sometimes
inclined.
people don't have the resources to like afford.
The resources, exactly. The education and resources is key. I agree with that.
I think it's a combination of education levels and how much money a person has, because some people can't maybe afford to spend like an extra few pounds for a vegan option when if some people are cutting it quite close.
But that's still an education thing, right? Because you got things like Aldi where it's the cheapest soy milk you can buy. It's like 59p. So once someone's educated that, hey, you can go to Aldi and avoid the dairy industry, the education has avoided that problem. We're talking about like people, but let's bring it to like you guys, right? So you can talk better from your personal perspectives, yeah?
Yeah.
So would price be a factor to keep exploiting animals for you, or would you be cool with working out a cheaper alternative?
I think there's no price really justifies any animal cruelty, and I think that's a pretty unanimous sort of decision.
Yeah.
But I just think the practicality of kind of purchasing like purely like organic, I think everyone strives, because you see organic on the label, they mark up the price. It's something just sort of happens because companies sort of prioritize profit, which is why animal cruelty basically kind of happens. So
Exactly.
I just think it's a combination of a lot of that.
So yeah, so we're talking about like the logistics of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's harder for us to find out an alternative shopping pattern or alternative shopping route or an alternative to what we're used to? For example, you're used to buying leather shoes. Do you think it's easier for us to just find an alternative than it is for the animals to suffer in the ways that they do? Who's got it hardest?
No, 100%. I think it's easier to just kind of resort to vegan options in regards to animals. But I think it's also more the regulation of how animal products are made, which are equally as important as
Yeah, well,
just fully dropping it. Because then there's the consideration of other people's jobs, like farmers and stuff, whose pure income's based on the animal products and things like that.
so farmers can diversify and change, right? We wouldn't say we don't want to stop hitmen because we're taking food off their table. And people don't think about they apply this logic to animal farming, But have you ever been to a supermarket and used a self-checkout? What about the people whose jobs are on the checkouts? You're taking their jobs away from them.
Yeah.
We wouldn't fight for them in that way, but we will fight for farmers in that way. Whereas actually farmers can diversify what they do. Diversify, sorry, not diversify. They can diversify what they do. They can make their money, but they don't have to make their money off the back of someone, right?
Yeah.
So there's loads of ways around this.
Yeah, it's just a lot of lifestyle changes, and I think a lot of people aren't necessarily willing to make that change. And I think,
What about you?
well, my mum and sister are pescatarian. My mum doesn't drink any dairy products. She likes watching documentaries about it, and she talks about it all the
So
time.
education's changing your mum,
Yeah.
right? So is education changing you?
I think it's when you surround yourself with people who don't eat meat or don't eat things like that. I think you kind of just automatically follow suit a little
We
bit.
could say that though, but I could be surrounded by racists. I still wouldn't be racist.
Yeah, but I think lifestyle choices would really much impact like others around you and how you kind of carry yourself and what you do and what you eat.
So, but would you change knowing the exploitation that you're paying for the animals?
Yeah, I definitely think it would be a step in the right direction. I think it's not as quick as a short term, I just, next supermarket shop, I buy everything vegan. It's, I think, a gradual process that you have to sort of...
But we've kind of collectively agreed it's an injustice to the animals, right? So let's look at an injustice like racism. If I said I was racist 7 days a week and I'm going to reduce my racism down until I'm non-racist, you'd say, like, no, just be non-racist. So why do we expect animals to endure our reduction to the right choice rather than us just doing the right thing?
Well, that's the same with saying if someone's addicted to meth and they said, well, it's not good for you, I'm just going to stop. It's not as easy. It's a lifestyle choice. It's been incorporated and it's something that sort of has to ease out of it.
But if someone's addicted to a drug, they're affecting themselves, right?
Yes.
But what you're claiming is that's similar to the exploitation of an individual. Because you're choosing to exploit that individual.
Yeah.
You're not addicted to meat, eggs, dairy, fish. You can make a change today. So we can't use somebody's drug addiction as a justification to continue to exploit animals, right?
It's not a justification of exploiting animals. I just think a lot of people, they're very much used to consuming animal products, and it's been something that's been happening for incredibly long time. And I think it's one of those things that won't just magically stop, and it needs more kind of education and representation, and then it'll gradually change.
I agree with you with education and representation. And once people know better, they can do better.
Yeah.
But saying something's been done for a long time, we had slaves for years.
Yeah.
Should we have stopped slavery like this, or should we have slowly reduced our slave numbers?
I think it's a very difficult thing to sort of talk about, but it's just my main reasoning is like vegan food. It's something that not many people try, not many people know of, and then you sort of have to ease into it. And then it's a different time, a lot more modern, and I think there are a lot more fresh ideas that people are having to come to terms with. And I think added things can be quite overwhelming for multiple people.
I understand, but that mentality is putting us as the victim. It's overwhelming for me. It's difficult for me. I'm going to find it hard to find these different choices. And we're painting ourselves as a victim, where actually it's pigs in gas chambers, it's chickens in shackles having their throats slashed open, it's mother dairy cows being raped, having their babies kidnapped. These are the real victims of these industries, right? So when we look at veganism, there's a why we should be vegan and then a how. And all the things that you're saying, I'm not discarding them at all. Education and finding lifestyle choices is 100% valid, but it's always a how. Because the why we should be vegan is because we're against that injustice in the first place.
Yeah.
And the whole time we focus on the why, how comes afterwards, and it always comes afterwards. You'll find a how if your why is focused strong enough.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking to me, guys. It's been a really nice chat. Have you got the leaflets to take away?
Yeah.
Cool. Check out on YouTube a documentary called Dominion. It's completely free on YouTube. Have a watch of it, and it'll show you some more of what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.